Well, this looks like a very helpful tool that I wish I could buy on Amazon.
Why do you always have to get violent? Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest.
This as they proved his points as another Trump derangement syndrome person is in the news right now. As now we find out he tried to buy a rocket launcher from Ukraine, as more and more of them are being found in Mexico. What's really going on here? As of course, this is a story that we've been warning you about before it became mainstream news. Now it's mainstream news, and now we look at the temperature in the room that clearly is building up to some very interesting circumstances for the President of the United States and the, quote, resistance that is becoming more and more allured with what now people are calling assassination culture. How will this play out? Are the threats against Donald Trump still active? I would say yes, and I will be making my argument here in this particular video, as well as discussing all the latest news that, of course, we just found out right now from the second Trump assassination attempt that we know about, which is pretty big here, as now we're finding out that Ryan Ruth, the lunatic, the alleged off-book liaison for the Ukrainian military, the recruiter for the Foreign Legion that was trying to get as many foreign people into Ukraine to fight on their behalf, is also someone that was in Ukraine trying to sign up for the military and trying to buy a rocket launcher from Ukraine. Very advanced missile systems that, of course, we have given to Ukraine. But this was known beforehand, and there weren't any kind of red flags. There weren't any kind of alarms. There wasn't any kind of like, hey, we got this crazy American here who's insane here, as the Ukrainians are denying that he was a, quote, unofficial liaison here. But as we know here, the CIA is very active in Ukraine, especially with their Foreign Legion, especially when it comes to what I would say is one of the best, most superior fighting legions in the world. And I don't say that lightly, but looking at some of the combat footage, looking at some of the armaments, looking at some of the battles that have taken place, the Foreign Legion, the mercenaries that are in Ukraine, helping them in their proxy conflict against Russia, which now might also include China. We'll talk about that in a little bit, are some of the best equipped fighters out there. And that's because the CIA doesn't play around. As now we're finding out that this Ryan Wesley Routh guy was in Ukraine trying to get his hands on some of the most advanced tech on the market when it comes to shooting down airliners. Just weeks before he tried to take the life of Donald Trump on the golf course, we have new court papers that were just revealed that he was trying to purchase from someone he believed to be a Ukrainian with access to all of the military-grade weapons, as federal prosecutors allege now in a motion that he was trying to do this. These documents just drop, as of course they even have the exchange here, which unfolded with an encryption messaging app where Routh allegedly asked the associate to send him an RPG or Stinger. Stinger missile is again that's the tech that has just been thrown willy-nilly into some of the most sinister, most criminal elements in the world right now that have their hands on this advanced military tech that you see pictured here. And again, these U.S.-made Stinger missiles, these advanced tech systems, they, in the wrong hands, would be devastating. And we saw Trump's campaign even act on this threat specifically, as they were looking at, hey, what's going to be happening? There was fake Donald Trump Air Force One takeoffs. There was fake airplanes. There was second airplanes. There was third airplanes. There was a lot of different actions taken to secure the safety of Donald Trump that I would still argue is still at risk here, as we are also finding out that now these encrypted messages are finally being released to the general public, as Ryan Ruth had a whole bunch of cell phones on him. And a lot of people are saying he was just a crazy person. He was just insane. Or was he an asset? I don't know. I think all those questions are worth asking right now, especially as Ruth was literally messaging people, be like, hey, how much? Can you ship it to me? Yes. This guy. The more I kind of read into this document, the more it looks like he was just an idiot. When you're reaching out, he was in Ukraine, okay? He was like, I want to join in the Ukrainians came back. They're like, yeah, there's this really crazy guy. We can't admit him. He's insane. The Ukrainians have also, according to CBS News, reported that vast majority of their weapon systems never made it to the front lines. There's also reports of a lot of weapon systems just going missing, and a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, we set up defensive positions, and then we're finding out that because of the corruption there, they never did, which is a little bit freaking crazy here, as, of course, now you got to do everything you can to try to stay sane in this mad world. As, of course, I want to talk about China. I want to talk about all the stuff happening now with Russia, all these kind of bigger developments here. I still have more to say about this Ryan Ruth character. But before I do, I want to tell you about wearechange.shop, one of the best shops out there, filled with some really great products. And for me, being able to be on top of my game is reliant on sleep, exercise. And I wish I could bottle those things, and I wish I could give it to them. I usually talk about them on lookunfilter.com and how I tweak and how I kind of implement a specific program for me and my special needs special to get the best health that I can. But supplementation does help. Additionally, when it comes to sleep, exercise, and meditation and getting rid of stress, I think I'm going to do a meditation video. I'm going to do a meditation video just for members of LukeUnfiltered.com later on today. That's going to be released, by the way. I'll show you how I meditate, and we will meditate together. It's going to be a great video. But we are change.shop here. And if life just gets too busy, too hectic, sometimes taking a supplement does help extensively. There have been some new breakthrough studies specifically talking about how essential fatty, our product, fish oil essentially, is really, really, really good for rebuilding brain neurons. Common sense creatine, also big brain boosting, cognitive improving, memory focusing type of supplement that I have seen a big difference in. I used to do just like one good video a day. Now I do like 5, 6. And I've been supplementing, and I've been focusing on meditation and sleeping and exercising and just living an absolute wild, crazy, filled life with no freedom at all. No free time at all. But I really do say that the fish oil and the creatine have made a big difference in my personal life. I think they can make a big difference in yours. Talk to your medical professional before putting anything into your body, and check out wearechange.shop to get the ultimate brain boost here, because clearly people need it here. As this is a very big deal here and deserves to be talked about, as we still don't have any kind of legitimate answers here to what happened with Trump's assassination attempts. But it looks like some of the encrypted devices are finally now being broken. Now we're finally able to see a little bit behind the scenes here to what's going on here. As I'm saying, there's a possibility there could be criminal, sinister, rogue contracting agents within our government that could have been orchestrating this from the very beginning. And I think that's the kind of likely scenario. I think it's also very likely that this guy was just absolutely insane. I mean, you're like, hey, ship me some Stinger missiles. Okay. What? Okay, that guy's, he seems pretty freaking crazy. And the way that he was representing himself on social media, he was like, yes, we got to support Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy, who hated each other. Okay. That's what he was tweeting about, writing about. Of course, he wasn't any fan of Putin, not a big fan of Donald Trump, obviously, since he tried to take his life here. But again, I believe that there's also going to be some information coming out showing that the Ukrainians probably knew a little bit more about this than we previously thought about. And if they weren't sharing data with the Americans about it, crazy Americans, they should have been. As of course, this guy was working on fake passports to allow people to go into Ukraine to fight for them. As now we're also finding out, according to Newsweek, that Ryan Ruth wants to suppress eyewitnesses. Yep. The suspect in an alleged, again, they're doing this for legal reasons, assassination attempt against then presidential candidate Donald Trump has asked the judge to suppress eyewitness testimony. In a new court filing, Ryan Ruth and his lawyers said the statements given by eyewitnesses, TCM, should be thrown out as the witness identified Mr. Ruth as the perpetrator through impersonable suggestive means. Ruth has pleaded not guilty. As Ruth's lawyers have said that substantial likelihood of misidentification due to the FBI's improper photographic procedure violates Ruth's rights to due process, making their argument a Fifth Amendment claim. And we're going to see what happens with these court documents, with these court filings, because, again, anything could happen in a court of law, especially with so many activist judges out there nowadays that are trying to make a statement against Donald Trump. There was also a handwritten letter from, I believe, Ryan Ruth that promised $150,000 to finish the job that was found related to this entire situation. Who in the world was going to pay $150,000 to take out then candidate Donald Trump? That's, of course, yes, this guy was denied bail. Luckily so. You never know with how crazy things are going. And, of course, there was a letter that prosecutors have cited that stated that there was an offer for $150,000 to, quote, finish the job. What did that mean? What was that going on here? As a lot of people are saying, these ties to Ukraine are a little bit strange here. They're a little bit weird here. And now we're finally getting some of the messages. Now, what else are prosecutors going to be revealing here? What else is going to be known here? As Donald Trump talked about how he was going to get a full report about the assassins that tried to take his life. And then he said specifically, if I'm going to do my best to try to make it public, but if there's some national security implications, I won't be able to make it public. He hasn't made it public, and this happened many weeks ago. So Donald Trump has gotten a report with updated information that's not available to the general public, that the general public still doesn't know about, that's too important for national security that he hasn't released, that he's talked about releasing, that has not yet been made public, surrounding the attacks on his life here. As the corporate media very conveniently is like, it was probably Iran. And, of course, a lot of individuals are not buying that. Now, this is another aspect here that I think we need to talk about here, because I think it's important. As CBS News reported, hey, most of the weapons are missing. Most of the weapons are being resold. And I've been talking about this from the very beginning, because I knew, as an Eastern European person, just how corrupt some of the bureaucrats and government officials are in Ukraine. And I was like, the likelihood of them taking this and selling it to criminal gangs, or selling it on the black market, or just losing it, extremely high. That happens in the regular military. That happens in an American military. But in Ukraine, I was like, this is going to happen on a huge level, and we're giving them all the best advanced stuff. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of really horrible Ukrainians that are going to be like, yeah, the Ukrainian men don't need it on the front lines. I'll just sell it here for a profit. That's exactly what happened here. Tucker Carlson was warning about this, as now the president of Mexico came out and is asking, how are so many advanced weapon systems that the U.S. military created, how are they now in the hands of all the drug cartels in Mexico? I wonder why. That is, as the United States is now potentially looking at starting a war with them, as Zelensky even talked about how, there's like $100 billion missing here. He doesn't know where it went, as he's saying a lot of the stuff just, they never, quote, received here. As the more likely scenarios was a CIA kind of weapons laundering kind of operation here. Tucker Carlson really hit the nail on the head with this explanation, though.
Second fact, not guess, fact is the Ukrainian military is selling a huge percentage, up to half of the arms that we send them. Half. And I'm not guessing about this. I know that for a fact, okay? Not speculation. And they're selling it, and a lot of it's winding up with the drug cartels on our border. So this is a crime, what's happening. Our intel agencies are fully aware of this. You tell me they're not profiting from this. Of course, you think the CIA is not profiting from this? Yes, they are. I can't prove that, but I believe that. What they don't know this. I know this, but they don't know this. They know this. And no one is saying it. Like, no American seems aware of this. We're sending these arms to Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's being stolen and sold to our actual enemies. Like, what the? I'm trying not to swear. What is this?
Yeah, well, the reason why is because you have Zelensky, it was about 3 weeks ago, I think, was specifically asked this question. So he went at some length in one of his interviews to say, oh, no, absolutely not. There's no truth to that at all. We've implemented all these things. I know that, but the media just reported what he said.
You know, the New York Times could get on the web and order Ukrainian weapons. That's a fact. I'm not guessing. It's a fact. They could do that today.
Yeah, and now imagine the implications here. Imagine the safety concerns here. Is now the job of the Secret Service that really wasn't that good there at all, especially with their DEI. The Secret Service there now has to worry about advanced weapon systems in the hands of lunatics, insane people, cartels, jihadis, and that is a threat. That is very severe. And now every time Donald Trump kind of takes off in Air Force One, there's systems out there that could take him down. And we have seen the implementation of security protocols to specifically address this threat. Now, with the weapons being out there on the black market, Ryan Ruth knew about it. Ryan Ruth was trying to get it. He spent some time in Ukraine. Again, the Ukrainians are like, this guy was just crazy. He was insane. But I think it's fair to assume here they should have said something. There should have been some red flags here. And is this just one big intelligence failure? Or is it just one big intelligence operation? What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Get your brain right. Get some good sleep at night. Get some REM sleep. Get some deep sleep. But also supplement. And supplementation definitely gives you the added advantage. WeAreChange.shop. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/WeAreChange.